It's a little video of my Honda Nsx. Just a little bit of a background to it. This is a registered 100 Nsx. It's a 1991 UK car, manual 3-litre V6 Coupe. This car's covered 63,068 miles. Reason I'm doing the video is basically I've got it's really just to keep a record of the vehicle that I can, you know, if the car goes or for whatever reason, then I've just got a memory of the car as much as anything else. But also for those who've got a passion for Honda like me, then just to see an old friend in operation again, really. Those that know me on the Temple of VTech, which is, you know, a forum that I'm always on, they'll know me by my nickname Senna Fan, which is a sort of self-explanatory thing, really. And you'll know that, you know, from talking to you via sort of the forum, you know, that I've got an NSX and this is the car, and I just wanted you to see it. Wanted you to see it in operation. So Nick, who's a fellow UK chap, I know you've got one. I know my Aussie friend. I'm terrible with pronunciation. Saddle row, something like that. But we share the same passion for these cars, and I just wanted you to have a chance to see mine on operation. And also, it's, you know, I don't get the car out that often. It's getting too valuable, which is such a shame to use it too much. I want to keep the mileage low, but I do like taking it out, taking it for a blast, and it's just a constant reminder to me of why Honda, you know, have been the company we've kind of long admired, you know, for all their faults and failings. They produce some brilliant cars, and a lot of the bitching on the forums tends to be over, you know, pretty trivial stuff, because mechanically they've done some quite incredible things. And when you realise this car's 25 years old and it still astonishes me jumping in the car and driving it. I've got the engine is obviously, you know, what people kind of harp on about, and quite rightly so. It's a wonderful unit, but to me, when I first drove these cars and I was selling them at Honda, I just could not get my head round how a car could, you know, be a supercar, really, and to be as comfortable and as quiet as it is, you know. And I still remember those first road tests, those stupid road tests, where, you know, they you know, their criticism of the car was it was too easy. It was too much like a luxury car to be a true supercar, because what you needed really, and God, we had a Ferrari 348, which is a very pretty car, beautiful car. What an absolute horror of a vehicle it was. You know, when you look at it side by side, you know, the Ferrari actually, yeah, rode actually reasonably well, mid-engine. You know, it was not dissimilar to this, the NSX, but the NSX is just so much more controlled. It's not bouncing around from tramlining and pogoing everywhere. It's got this just wonderfully controlled ride, which, as I said, just it beggars belief that the thing can handle. But you know, how could you criticise a car for being comfortable when it still had a precision of handling that defies belief? Because as soon as you turn the wheel, you feel, yeah, it's heavy, almost feels a bit slow-witted. But those that know them, and Nick will know this as well, you know, when you lean on the car through a corner, you feel the weight transfer to the outside of the car. You feel that the steering kind of follows the inertia of the chassis, and you just get this wonderful, fluid, flat handling, which is utterly confidence-inspiring. You know, it can bite like a bugger if you push it hard, and I've been on the receiving end of it. But you know, it is just a wonderful chassis. Oh, hello. It's just, it does astonish me, it really does. I mean, you know, through corners like this, you know, it's tighter. It just sits flat as a pancake. Dab of throttle, gutsy engine. Not you know, you can scream it, but it's got guts. But it drives amazingly well by any modern standard. You know, I've not driven modern hypercars, and I don't really want to. It's not that I dismissed them, and they're amazing tour de force, but this was just an era of car which was just truly sensational. And this was, you know, at that time, you know, very much the unsung hero, because it was, you know, people nearly got it. I remember the Autocar write-up where they just eulogised about the engine and its beautiful engine note, and they're right, but then they still couldn't quite bring themselves to say it was as good as the Ferrari, which is utter crap. You know, the car, you know, putting the concepts side by side, you know, having had both, you know, talk about just, you know, build and mechanical integrity. Let's get that out of the way straight away. The Ferrari was appallingly built, was horrendously unreliable and fickle, you know, and that's apparently character. So there we are, you've summed up character by it being a lousily built car with using Fiat 127 parts bin, and I'm sure Ferrari people come running at me saying it wasn't a 127, it was a 127. I don't care what it was. It used some pretty shoddy stuff inside. You can criticise this for being plain Jane, and it is. Do you know what? It is. But it damn well works. It's got a brilliant dashboard. There's not a squeak. There's not a rattle. It feels like new. You know, the Ferrari, even when it was new, felt old. But the one we had, which had done low mileage, was just an awful car. I hated it. You know, then you got, you know, the engine and gearbox. The Ferrari at full song sounded beautiful, but no more beautiful than this. But at all other times, this sounds far better because of the soundtrack that comes through the engine, you know, the induction noises, the changes of tone through the engine as it growls and then starts to bellow and then starts to scream. It's, you know, it's that beautiful sort of build up to the red line. The Ferrari would sound harsh and gravelly at low RPMs, and, you know, it coughed and farted and spluttered. It was just I don't know, you know, and that attached then to a throttle pedal which was, you know, its linkage was all stiff. It went down in little motions. Again, this, even 25 years old, and you touch the throttle pedal and it's just got this wonderful kind of fluid action to it, as every single action on the car has. Then, you know, the clutch on this is, for a Honda, quite heavy. You know, very positive, but quite heavy. But nothing compared to the leg braking, you know, the mechanism that was in the Ferrari, which was a joke of a thing. It, you know, really hard to judge the biting point. It was, you know, and then the gearboxes. God alive, don't get me started. I mean, again, I'd read so much and so desperately wanted to enjoy the Ferrari that, you know, I'd heard about this, you know, this lovely metal gated click 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 gearbox, which, yeah, once you warm up, yeah, once you got used, it was awful. It was as heavy as hell. It was bulky. It was nasty. And unless you timed the damn thing absolutely perfectly, yeah, one gear change at about 100, you would get perfect, and it would then be superb. And yeah, people say you're rubbish at driving. You don't know how to drive a car. That's fine. I'll accept that. This, I can change gear. It's got a beautiful, heavy mechanical feel to the gear linkage. It's actually a relatively slow gear change for a Honda. You know, it's slightly slow going in. You know, but every time, whether I'm going on a racetrack, whether I'm going up the road, I find my way home. I never miss a gear. It's strong. It's tough. They take the miles. So engine gearbox wise, you know, I just can't get my head around it. I'm sorry to do this comparison the whole time, but it really irks me. And then the handling, just the Ferrari was a damn evil car. It was a nasty handling vehicle. Steering felt, you know, very sharp, but it just didn't come together. It wasn't harm. There was no chemistry between the chassis and the steering. It just didn't seem to want to settle. It was always bum clenching every time around the corner. I think, God, please don't bite, don't bite, don't bite. This one, it's just absolutely chalk and cheese. It's a beautifully resolved chassis, and as much as I, with my sort of affiliation or love of Ayrton Senna and everything he did, I'm not going to pretend for a second that he was responsible for the way this thing handles. He probably had some input, but probably more for PR than it was for any great reality. I don't know, it may be more than that. All I know is what they did with his chassis is astonishing. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 25 years old, it's still brilliant. And then it's attached to this ride, as I said, which, even by, it is the best riding car, Honda car, along these roads where I live, of any that I drive. The Civics, the CRVs, the Legends. Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, the ride is just incredible, and that engine, I hope you can hear it I really hope it comes through on the video, because it's, those that have one will know that you'll remember that soundtrack. It is brilliant. I didn't plan this video out, so I know it's all over the place. I know I'm going from one thing to another. I'm not professional, I'm not Jeremy bloody Clarkson. I just want you to see the car, see my car. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it being a Honda. I'm proud of it not being a Ferrari. I'm proud of it not being a Porsche. I'm proud of it not being an Audi. I'm proud of it because they're all so obvious. They're good cars, but I love the fact that this isn't one of those. And in essence, compared to any of them around that era of time, is a damn sight better than pretty much all of them. Every time I go and start it starts, it runs, everything works on the car exactly as it should. Air conditioning's blowing out, loving cold. I look forward to driving the car. It's just simply brilliant. So hopefully I've bored you all to death now. And what I'm going to do is, I've got a kind of a little mini collection of Hondas, which kind of does change, and from time to time. I've got the modern stuff, that's CRVs, and I'm going to post a couple of videos of some of my older stuff. And I've got, at the moment, I've got this, I've got an old, really old, well, you might be able to see it actually at the end of this video. I think it's an X-Reg Honda Prelude, a Mark 1, which I've just had a new MOT put on, and I'm going to get resprayed, and that'll be my next video. I've then got a 2003 Civic Type R, one of the very first ones, again very low mileage, under 30,000 miles, which in my collection. And I've got an Integra DC2, again genuine UK one, in championship white, red seats, 60,000 miles, and I love them. So I'm going to do a little video of all of them. As I said, I wanted you guys to see the video. I wanted the chaps from all over, from Japan, America, China, Asia, Europe, it doesn't matter where you are. I wanted you to see my car and hear it go. It's but just for those in the Temple of VTEC who love their Hondas, who've never had an opportunity, I count myself as incredibly lucky. I'm not a wealthy man. This isn't I'm not a flash chap at all, never have been. But there's plenty of people who would love to have experienced a car like this, who love Honda. This is their halo car of their time. It's just really, it's for you. It's just to give you a kind of an insight into what a few of us are lucky enough to be able to experience from time to time. But all I can say is, everything you've heard about the car is utterly true. It's not without its flaws. I'm not going to pretend it is. Honda weren't exactly adventurous with their interiors that when they did the car. But ironically, that's actually helped to add kind of to the appeal of the car, because it wasn't normal. It wasn't another fragile supercar. It was a car that they desperately without all the cliches, wanted to be able to use, you know, pretty much as a, you know, daily and reliable, and it achieved that. Nothing at the time. Even the Porsche cars at that time, you know, they weren't as reliable as this. You know, you know, you look at, you know, these aren't cheap to run, but certainly the guys in the village who do the amateur on this car, you know, they specialise in all sorts of, you know, classic cars and exotica, but predominantly Porsche, who they love. But they love them because it keeps them busy. You know, the Porsche are reliable if you spend lots and lots and lots of money keeping them reliable. That's just their experience, not mine, because I have none. You know, when they got this in for the MOT, they looked underneath the skin and they said it was the most beautiful piece of engineering they'd ever seen on a car. They'd never dealt with one, but when they looked at the, you know, the wishbones for the suspension underneath, and that skeletal look that they have, if you've never seen it, try and look at a photo of one without the skin on top. It is an absolute work of art, and they looked at that and they just said it's just very, very, very different to anything German or Italian that we've ever dealt with. It is simply an amazing car, and it was through gritted teeth that they told me that. I'm nearly home now, so I'm going to end this video in a second. You know, if I get a chance, I'm going to probably take it on a track day or a sprint race or something. And if they allow me to video that, then I will do so, because I'd love to show you that, you know, at speed. And, you know, I'm not going to take it to 10 tenths. I'll probably take it to 9.8 or something like that. I can't, just daren't write this thing off. But as I pull up on the grass in a second, this is close to where I live. Hopefully you will see, well, first of all, you'll see my wife's CRV up on the grass, up on at the house rather, and then if I can point it, hopefully, there we are. There's my old girl, hope you can see her. But there we go, happy days.